Hello, fellows and ladies. It's time for some updated Oscar guesses. A lot has happened since last time I did this. Every festival has happened. TIFF has happened. I was there and I saw all of it. NIF has happened. Freaking Venice has happened. Freaking Telluride has happened too, actually. And a lot of things have premiered. A lot of things have skyrocketed. A lot of things have dropped off. Like the sun is dead and in hell where it belongs. Empire of Light's looking shakier than ever. Bardo's looking hella shaky. Meanwhile, Pinocchio's looking stronger than ever. Let's just do it. Let's start off with Best Picture. You'll notice I officially have put Everything Everywhere All at Once at number one. I've been saying it from the get-go that I think Fabelmans is going to peak early. Right now, it seems on track to do that. It's the current frontrunner. I've seen the Fabelmans. I thought it was fantastic. It can win. I definitely acknowledge that, but it definitely gives me the vibe of something that peaks early. So yeah, that's what I'm currently guessing is going to happen. And comes Everything Everywhere All at Once, which has critic and audience support. I really do think this has this stuff to win. Yeah, sure, it's a little weird, but you know what? It's being embraced across the board. So yeah, it could win pretty, not easily, but it could win. Number three, I have Babylon, which is the only one of this list that has not been seen yet. I feel like in good faith, I should have it at, maybe 8. But I do feel like, unless it's mixed, unless it's Nightmare Alley, which I know it got in, but that got lucky. It could be a mixed reviewed movie. And if that happens, I got a second guess. We've seen with First Man, Giselle ain't invincible. But we got this big Hollywood movie about Hollywood and old Hollywood too. The pieces seem right, and I do think it's going to be really good. Obviously, if not, I'll tank it, but right now I feel good about it. Before I have Women Talking, I saw the film. I thought it was fantastic. I do think it's a little, I don't want to say inaccessible, but it's not for everybody. But I think it's accessible enough where I do think it should be secure, or at least in a spot where we shouldn't be nervous about it. I can see it not being top 5, closer to the actual awards date. But I feel good about Women Talking. I think it is going to get nominated. Number 5, we got The Banshees of Inisherin. I did see it. I'm probably going to see it again before I actually review it. But I don't know if you recall, but I had it in from the beginning. And now it's looking like a lock. It looks very solidified, and we got nothing to worry about. I don't see it winning because I think it's really weak below the line. I know Coda, but this is not Coda. But I think it feels good. Number 6, I got The Whale, which you'll probably have lower. You're probably it has mixed reviews. I've seen The Whale. I thought it was tremendous, and it's making people weep and sob. And you also got the king himself, Brendan Fraser, just dominating the actor race. Spoiler alert, but he's winning the actor race. The thing that really made me go, no, I think it is solid. A, I've seen it, and it gives me the vibe of a picture nominee. And B, yes, there is some mixed critical reception, but I think audiences are going to eat it up. And really, even with critics, I can't help but notice that the people who like it, love it. It has the passion, you know what I mean? Yeah, it'll have its detractors, no question about it. That's why it's not my top 5. But it has enough of that love and passion, similar to the way that Joker had, that that'll pull it in. Plus, he got the groundswell, the unanimous groundswell support of Brendan Fraser. That'll just so yeah, I feel really solid about The Whale, and I also feel really solid about Top Gun Maverick. Unless maybe Black Panther Avatar comes out and completely overshadows it. Here's the thing. Those two are going to make more money than Top Gun. That's what's going to happen. But Top Gun lasted the whole summer. It lasted a while. It was a huge phenomenon. I think it'll actually have more of an impact than the other 2 action sequels that I mentioned. So I do think that this movie looks solid right now. It's a little weak above the line. It has possibilities, but nothing strong. But I think it can easily survive that. Number 8, I have Tar. You probably have it higher for good reason. I think it is solid, but I think the top 8 that I mentioned is really good, but I think Tar is the one I'm a little bit more suspicious about. I think it's really solidly in there. I've seen the film; it's fantastic, and I do think that we got nothing to worry about. I just don't think it's worth ignoring that it's pretty weak below line, and it's a very cold film. But I think enough of it is very respectable, and also get the Kate Blanchett of it all. It's likely going to get a screenplay. I do think that it would be foolish to bet against Tar, even if I'm not ready to just say it's locked in yet. Just yet. Give me a month and I might change my mind. 9 and 10 is where it gets a little bit dicey. Number 9, I have All Quiet on the Western Front. I did see this film at Toronto Film Festival. I thought it was absolutely insanely good. It's not getting a lot of hype right now, and that's the problem around it. That said, I saw this movie and I have the feeling that I can't not shake. Like, it has the technical prowess in this big scale action war film, not action, this big scale war film to land. It just needs the hype, which I have to acknowledge it doesn't have, which is why it's my number 9. Number 10, I got Pinocchio. It's definitely a risky bet. You know, we're talking about an animated movie, a stop motion animated Pinocchio movie. It is directed by Guillermo del Toro, and the reviews are absolutely insane. There are a lot of people calling it Guillermo del Toro's best, and that's what maybe pushed it over the edge. Because, like, I don't know if that supersedes the animated Pinocchio of it all, but it definitely helps. And that's what pushed it over the edge. That's why I maybe go, all right, I'm going to put it in my 10. I'm going to take the gamble. I'm not ignoring the flaws, though. Like, you know, it being an animated movie could easily just knock it off immediately. But I have faith in it. I do. And then number 11, I got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. At the time of recording this, all we got is Twitter reactions, and they are through the roof. All of them are saying it's fantastic. It's a very, like, emotional gut punch and a tribute to Chadwick, and it's very much a technical achievement in its own right. And some are even saying it's superior to the first one. I'm not getting a lot of picture hype around it, though. But I'm hearing it's a strong clear below the line, plus the fact that it has this emotional, you know, girth to it. Girth? To me, that adds up. You put the 2 and 2 together, like, that adds up to me, especially in a lineup of 10. Who knows? Maybe it's, you know, the regular Marvel early hype that happens. It's usually some hyperbole with Marvel movies, but this one feels genuine. You know what I mean? I don't know when this is going to be posted. Maybe the reviews are out by the time it's posted, and the reviews are a lot worse. But it feels real to me. So I'm going to leave it at 11. Number 12, I have She Said. I am seeing it on the Thursday at the time of recording this, so I don't know if it'll be out by the time I see it, but right now reviews are about where I expected, if not a little bit more positive. Its haul is bad. That's the thing. Its haul is screenplay and supporting actress, maybe, and then picture. I can definitely see it happening. I want to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see it and see if the bad haul can be overcome. Number 13, you have Empire of Light, which is not doing well on Rotten Tomatoes right now, not doing well on Metacritic. I have seen the film. I thought it was okay. I do think that it's enough of Academy catnip where I do think the reviews can be survived. It doesn't help that, you know, Searchlight has a better priority with Banshees of Inisherin. But, you know, Olivia Colman's giving an amazing performance. Got a lot of technical thing. It's a big power of cinema. It's a whole racism isn't good. It's a whole thing. It's a lot for the Academy to eat up. I do think that the reviews are survivable. 14, we got Avatar: The Way of the Water. I don't know what to do with this movie. I did see the footage. I did see the re-release, and the footage that they showed us for the new movie is fucking insane. They did cut out the hair sex, though, so fuck Avatar. Not looking good. If they cut out the hair sex in the re-release, it's not a good sign for what's going to be in Way of the Water. But, you know, I do think that for a sequel to get in, you need this level of, like, it needs to be better than the original in a way. Like Top Gun Maverick, it unanimously agreed to be better than the original. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, I think there's enough people who agree it's better. Avatar, I need to see if people think it's better than the original. And especially considering because Avatar 2 has a high bar to cross. Like, I understand that Avatar made $3 billion, but that billions of dollars was like accumulated over like a decade. And yeah, we'll probably make a lot of money. This movie's gonna make bank. It's gonna make coin, but you know, I don't know if it's going to top the original, though. And we all agree, you know, Cameron's a fucking killer director. He's not a good writer. And I think that, you know, again, with the high bar this movie needs to cross, it's going to be tough, you know what I mean, with that in mind. That said, it could just be good enough. We are talking about Cameron here. It's very possible, but, you know, it's got some obstacles. At number 15, I got The Woman King. This is a really good movie. It does have some obstacles, though. I don't really think the controversy is a problem. I think it's already gone away. I don't think enough people give a shit, so I don't care about that. Controversy was stupid anyway. There's a world where it just gets Cusack. That's the thing. Like, there's a world where it just gets no nominations at all. I think its worst day is costume design, but, like, you know, missing costumes is also possible, albeit unlikely. Like, I think this movie, you know, it's doing well with audiences and it's making some bank. So, you know, it could happen. It's something I need to take seriously, even if I'm not like 100% sure it's going to actually happen. Number 16, I got Triangle of Sadness. I did see this movie at Toronto, and man, I will say I was a lot more confident in its chances before I saw it. I really liked it. You know, I had some issues with its third act, but yeah, there's some lowbrow humor in there, but I think that can be survivable. It's the structure of the film that's just super not clear and not very solid. That makes me a little nervous for this film and how it will resonate with voters. But I definitely went away thinking it's possible. Number 17, I got Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. I did see this film. I thought it was terrific. Don't buy it as a picture player. Got to be completely honest with you. It placing at TIFF definitely is good sign, as well as the week-long theatrical release that Netflix is committing to, which is definitely solid. But this movie is pure entertainment, and that's not a negative. It's just voters want a little bit more than that. People go like, oh, it was close in 2019. The Knives Out was close in 2019. It didn't fucking happen, though. I don't give a shit how close you were. It could have been 14 for all we know. All it was a screenplay. Now, we don't know how fucking close it was. I do feel that this movie will go down the same path as the original Knives Out, potentially a Borat situation where it's just supporting actress and screenplay. But I don't buy picture nomination from this one. Sorry. I love the movie, though. Number 18, I get Decision to Leave. I also saw this film and thought it was terrific. I do think that this movie could definitely benefit from a very good critic showing. And it's a very easy to grab film from a legendary director. Initially, I was like, yeah, probably not. I love the movie, probably not. But it's starting to grow on me. I'm probably going to go rewatch it hopefully sometime this week. And right now, I'm liking it. I'm more optimistic than I was when I saw the film in September. Number 19, I got Bardo, which is not looking solid. I'm sure you all know the reactions initially were very negative. Not very, but like very, at best, mixed negative. Again, it went through a re-edit and the critical reaction is taking a turn. However, there is still this negative air around it. And for an international movie to get in, you kind of need the critic support from the get-go, which the movie doesn't have. It does have the AGI of it all, and that could outweigh it, but I know I'm not that confident in that happening. Number 20, I got Elvis. I want to say no so badly, and I'm still kind of saying no. It's the same problem as before. How many people are putting this movie in their top 10, especially now that we have all these movies? Like, I understand Butler's getting in. It could get a tech or two, but like, I don't know if that's enough. I get all the arguments. Oh, it's Beatty. Oh, it made all the cash money. But like, notice how like it came out. I don't care that it came out in June. Like, you know, I'm looking at Everything Everywhere All at Once and Top Gun Maverick, which came out before Elvis, and looking at them as solid. Whereas Elvis came out in June, and yet even the people who think it's getting in are still like tiptoeing around it. Like, doesn't that say something about the movie itself? I think the movie is just too much. I think the Tom Hanks of it all is very, turning people off. Yeah, I do think that this movie, I have to acknowledge the possibility. I do. But I don't think it's likely. Other than that, I think Greatest Baron Ever is not looking good at all. I think The Batman is something that like I had in my 20, but I'm like, I don't really see it happening. I'm just kind of considering it just kind of out of the fact that it's up for a lot of text. Director. Number 1, I got Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. His direction doesn't scream the director winner to me, but like I definitely see it as a possibility. It didn't, like, if it wasn't Spielberg, I wouldn't be predicting him. You know what I mean? Well, I would be predicting it for a nom, but like I wouldn't be going like, oh, that is winning. And I'm still not saying that for this. It's weird. It doesn't scream director winner to me, but I can see it. It screams as director winning possibility. I'm rambling. Number two, I got Damien Chazelle for Babylon. Again, Chazelle's not as much the golden boy as we like to think they were after La La Land, but this movie looks like it's got a lot of direction going on, like a lot of these big parties of fucking elephants. I definitely think he's gonna get nominated, albeit unless the movie's bleh. Number 3, I got the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I really feel like this is just gonna happen. It has a very distinct directorial vision, and it's very showy in its approach. Yeah, I think they're solidly in there. I think at least. It gets dicey at 4. I think there is a succinct top 5 that everyone has. It includes Todd Field and Sarah Polley. Both of these films have this similar disadvantage where most people's takeaway is the screenplay and the acting. It's a very dialogue heavy films, both these movies, but they both have these artistic visions to it where they can actually survive that. I think, and the movie that gave me most of the vibe that it survives that is Tar. I do think Todd Field is ahead of Polley because there's definitely some very purposeful camera movement and artistry going on there. And that's the same case for Polley as well, but not as much as Field. So I do have Tar at 4. It can miss. I can definitely buy it. Number 5, I have Edward Berger for All Quiet on the Western Front. I do think he's going to be the international director that gets in. I don't know if there'll be an international director that gets in without picture. I think, in a lineup of 10, that's a lot more difficult. But Edward Berger, the direction of this movie is fucking insane. There's just so much going on. There's a lot of like war stuff. The texts are out of this world. I do think that is a definite like you gotta have it. Is it gonna happen like without picture? Probably not. But man, I really hope it does. Number 6, like I said, I have Polly for Women Talking. The movie is very stagey, and especially during the barn sequences. But there's a lot of sequences outside the barn that make me go, yeah, that could happen in director. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard about the color palette. Okay, here's what I'll say about the color palette of Women Talking. It is bad. The color palette is pretty atrocious. It is like the one bad thing about it. The rest of the movie is fantastic. However, that one directorial choice is a little distracting, and it could be a problem for her. That's not why. Let me be clear. That's not why I have her out and why I have her at 6 instead of Field. I don't think the color palette helps her, but I don't think it like kills her either. And again, I just think Todd Field has a little bit more artistry going on than Polly, that I think the director's branch will appreciate a little bit more. And then number 7 and 8, I actually want to pair these together. That's Martin McDonagh and Darren Aronofsky. Both of these films, similar to Tar and Women Talking, they both got, all 4 of these movies are very dialogue heavy and are very much the focus is on the acting and the writing. But whereas the difference between Tar and Women Talking, The Whale and Banshees don't have as much of an artistic singular vision as the other two do. I don't say that disrespectfully. I think both Aronofsky and McDonagh did the best they could have done. Like, I could not have asked anything more from them. But I do think that doesn't lend well to a director nomination. Oh, but Martin McDonagh was close. Shut the fuck up. Number 8, I got James Cameron for Avatar: The Way of the Water. I think that if Avatar gets in, that's a definite nomination. But again, that's a huge if. And I think the same goes for Ruben Östlund for Triangle Sadness. I think only if it gets in. It's to an extent, same thing with Park Chan-wook for Decision to Leave. I think that's an only if it gets picture thing. All right, best actor. Number 1, Brendan Fraser, The Whale. Number 2, 3, 4, and 5. It don't matter. This is over. I think this race is kind of just finished. I know it's October at the time of filming, or November. Either way, I know it's early that like we shouldn't call races, but like it's over. I really just cannot see Fraser losing. He has this unanimous groundswell of support and the performance to back it up too. It's a very easy narrative to get behind. It's not this bullshit overdue narrative. It's a comeback after being blacklisted. Like, it's great. And what he does in the last 20 minutes of this movie is like Anthony Hopkins level. I remember after the movie, I was with the film drunk, right? We were like just chatting a little bit, and Matt Neglia walks up to us and he's like, bro, that was like Anthony Hopkins level. And I'm like, 100%, like 100%. He has it. I think even if The Whale somehow misses picture, that Brendan would still win. Number 2, we got Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin. I thought he was fantastic in the movie. He ain't winning, but he is going to get nominated. I think he's overdue for a nomination. I don't like overdue narratives, but I think this one is definitely valid. And even if he wasn't overdue, he's just fantastic. You know what I mean? He's just great in the role he deserves. Number 3, Austin Butler Elvis, playing Elvis Presley. I think competition is stiff enough where I'm not afraid of the whole Taron Egerton thing. I think he's solid. I do think there is some questions to be asked about the fact that he's a no-name, but I think he will survive that. Number 4, we got Tom Cruise at Top Gun Maverick. Can't believe I'm at this point. But, dude, the performance itself, I never in a billion years would be predicting this. But there's some stuff going on with this category, man. It's so, other than the top 3, it's so weird. The gap between Butler and Cruise is surreal. But, think about it, Cruise will probably get Critics' Choice because they predict. He could get Globes, and he could get SAG. It doesn't even matter if he misses BAFTA, which he probably will. It doesn't even matter if he does. He has that build-up. Plus, he got this, this movie that's doing great. He's like the face of that movie. It can very well happen. Like, the performance itself does not make me think, oh, it's getting nominated at all. But man, he just might. It's so weird. Number 5, I got Diego Calva for Babylon. He is lead. I know there was some confusion, but he is lead now. Thanks a lot, Paramount, for that fucking confusion. Calva, he is. Dude, he's like a complete no-name, more of a no-name than Butler. But he's the face. He's the lead of Babylon. It could happen. I want to see the performance first. His obstacles are obvious, but yeah, I do think he does have a good shot. And then number 6, I have Hugh Jackman for The Sun. The Sun is a terrible movie. It's the worst movie of the year, and Hugh Jackman's not good in it. However, I have to acknowledge when it comes to Hugh Jackman, I'm on the outs, which I'm okay with. So I guess it's still possible. I wish he wasn't, but he is still possible. But I still think it's like, well, this movie's not good, and the air around it is extremely negative. Why would he get in still? Like, I'll consider him because his category is weak, but like, And then number 7, I got Bill Nighy for Living. I haven't seen Living. I thought it was pretty good. I thought he was fantastic. But that performance never struck me as like a nominated performance. Like, I buy the performance itself getting nominated before I buy a performance like Tom Cruise getting granted. But like, what's Living? What's Living? It went to all these festivals and I haven't heard anybody give a shit. And I know you're gonna be like, oh, it's Sony Pictures Classic. Okay, let me just put this out there right now. Yes, Sony Pictures Classic is really good at silent campaign, but like they're not magicians. Like they can't just get anything they want in. I understand Penelope Cruz last year, and that was impressive that they pulled it off. But like, bro, what about Clifton Collins Jr.? How do we know? Like, why is Bill Nye Penelope Cruz, but not Clifton Collins Jr.? You know what I mean? I got to a point where I kind of have to consider the possibility because it's getting so damp and dead. But like, I'm not shaking the feeling I had when I saw it, where I'm like, that's kind of just a nothing. That's just Clifton Collins Jr. again. And like, I don't want to hear like if he like misses the BAFTA long list, and guess it's possible. If he like misses the long list, if he gets no precursor nominations, I'm not like Penelope Cruz. I gotta predict him. I'm not gonna predict him again. Maybe they pull it off again, but maybe they don't. Number 8, I got Zac Efron, Greatest Beer Run Ever. And if I hear a fucking word out of y'all motherfuckers, if y'all go like, no, wait, the movie's bad. If I'm considering Hugh Jackman, I'm considering Zac Efron, because Zac Efron was actually good in this fucking movie. Efron actually gave a performance that I do think will appeal to the Academy, in a movie that, I think there's too much of an air around it that's not great. But even though I do think that the Academy will like it, not enough to like get it anything beyond this, but I like enough to get him in, because he's a pretty, like, I don't see people giving him shit. Not like in a Brendan Fraser way, where even people who don't like The Whale are like, get him the Oscar. I don't see that for Efron, but like I do see people who dislike the movie even say like, no, but he is good though. I still think he's a possibility, a strong one, not really, but I still think he could happen. Number 9, Christian Bale for The Pale Blue Eyes, not for Amsterdam because that movie's awful. I don't know what The Pale Blue Eyes is going to be in this race. Probably likely a nothing, but hey, maybe Bale gets in anyway. Who knows? And then number 10, I got Adam Driver for White Noise. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know when I'm seeing it, but from what I hear, he is quite good, but not like, oh, he's getting nominated good. Actress. Number 1, I got Cate Blanchett for Tar. I have seen the film. I thought she was terrific. She is there the whole film. She has a very, like, all she does is talk the whole entire movie. Yet she is just so hard to take your eye off of. There is definitely a thing where it's like, oh, it's a third Oscar. And if you all motherfuckers say Frances McDormand, I'm going to punch you in the penis. No, Nomadland won Best Picture. Tar is not winning Best Picture. It is definitely a struggle. You have to acknowledge that. Could Cate Blanchett do it? Yeah, of course. It's Cate Blanchett. She could win a third, no problem. But it's something to talk about. Whereas my number 2, Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once, has this narrative. I am really coming around on the idea of Michelle Yeoh winning Best Actress. The performance itself doesn't make me think, oh, she's winning, but the narrative does. And that is, she's everywhere. Like, y'all want to say A24 sucks. Brendan and Michelle have been everywhere. But forget when she's getting nominated. She's solid. Number 3, I got Margot Robbie for Babylon. I know we haven't seen it yet, but I'm seeing a lot of you remove her from your lineup, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? I got it when like people thought she was supporting, but she's confirmed lead now, and like she's gonna happen though. I don't get why y'all are taking her out now, you fucking numbskulls. Number 4, I got Danielle Deadwyler for Till. I have seen Till. That was really good, and holy shit, Danielle Deadwyler, she is horrific. I had some concerns before I saw the movie, and none of them had to do with the performance itself. I had to do with the movie. And after seeing the movie, some of those concerns went away, like the movie being just too hard for people to watch. And it's not easy to watch, but it's definitely digestible. I think the problem I still have is like how many people are actually going to see it. That was my biggest concern with Danielle Deadwyler, and also the fact that she's not a name. I do think that performance does speak for itself, though. And if enough people see the performance, which I imagine enough will, I do think she's solid. I can't say she's a lock, though. Not yet, at least. And then number 5, I had Naomi Ackie from One Dancer's Buddy. You guys need to take this performance seriously. Like, come on. I know you guys don't like Bohemian Rhapsody, but holy shit, guys. Like, suck it up. She's a no-name. I have to acknowledge that. And the movie might not be good. Like, the trailer does not look good. Either the poster, but fuck, I'm not dismissing someone because of a poster. We're talking about Anthony McCartan here. All right? Like, we're talking about a woman playing Whitney Houston. Like, come on. Like, she will very, okay, I don't want to say likely happen, but she very well could. And, I'm taking her as seriously as I can. I have her in my 5. I think you're very seriously. Number 6, I got Olivia Colman for Empire of Light. I thought she was terrific in Empire of Light. She could get in without the movie. But the movie itself is stinking. Starting to sink a little bit. And while it could survive, it is a problem that the movie's not doing well. I don't want to hear this whole, but Olivia Colman, she gets in for everything. She has 3 nominations over 4 years. How is that? Like, she's not Meryl Streep. I never bought this bullshit Meryl Streep theory about Olivia Colman. Give her a stupid nomination and then I'll buy it. But right now, I don't buy this Meryl Streep theory about Olivia Colman. But, she's playing a schizophrenic. She has a lot of scenes in the movie. She could definitely still get in. But right now, I'm going to say she doesn't get in. Instead, Naomi Ackie does. Number 7, I got Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. She was supposed to win supporting, and then Universal decided to be stupid. I've seen the film. She's not lead in the slightest. I think people who are like, oh, she's going to get anyway. I think you need to slow down a bit. She definitely has the scenes that made her the lock to win in supporting actress that we initially thought she was. But she's just missing from large chunks of the movie. The category of fraud does not work the other way around. It just doesn't. And then number 8, I got Viola Davis of The Woman King. I feel like that's an only if the movie happens thing. And even if the movie does happen, I don't think that's like a guarantee, even though very likely. Number 9, I got Anna de Armas for Blonde. I still have her in my top 10. My thing with her is that if the movie wasn't what it is, aka dog shit, I think we'd all have her at like number 3. But the movie is what it is. So unlikely, not impossible. And then number 10, I got Zoe Kazan, but she said, I don't find it likely based on everything I've heard. Not that she's bad, she apparently gets at nothing. Most supporting actor. Number 1, I got Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Man, that performance just really strikes me as a winning performance. I really don't see him missing it this way. I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about winning, and that's the only performance I've seen so far that I buy as a winner. Number 2, I got Brendan Gleeson, Banshees of Inisherin. I don't buy that as a winning performance, but I think he's like solid. I think he has enough attention towards that performance. He doesn't like do a lot. He doesn't really have like a scene or anything. Number 3, Paul Dano, The Fabelmans. He is a pretty big figure throughout the whole film. I really do think he's like pretty solid, honestly. Not like a lock or anything. I could see him missing, but like I think he's pretty good. 4, Brad Pitt, Babylon. There's some stuff around Brad Pitt that makes me like, make think, oh, probably won't get in. But I don't think people give a shit, unfortunately, which is just like, but like, that's the nature of this shit. It seems like he's got a show performance. He'll probably get in. If Babylon's thing, of course. I got grapes now. Number 5, Ben Whishaw, Women Talking. A lot of people have him higher. The vibe I got from that performance when I saw it was like, yeah, he'll probably get in, I guess. Maybe it's possible. He does have his scenes in the spotlight. It could happen. He does do some crying shit, but I don't know. I don't think it's like guaranteed or anything. I think he's going to miss some precursors. Number 6, I got Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin. He's not as like noticeable as Brendan Gleeson is, but like he's definitely a very good comic relief, and he plays dumbass really, really well. So I do think he is very possible, but I just don't know if he gets Banshees gets double nominated supporting. Number 7, I got Seth Rogen for The Fabelmans. To me, he gives me very Jesse Plemons vibes, and Fabelmans is likely going to be a big contender throughout. Maybe not win the whole thing, but like he'll probably be a big contender throughout. So like, I don't know. Maybe it does happen, like Jesse Plemons style. Number 8, I got Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, which a lot of you probably have above him. Yeah, he's very good in the movie, but it's a fucking 8-minute cameo. I don't get why people are calling him a lock. I think you need to slow down. Number 9, I got Jeremy Strong for Armageddon Time. I saw Armageddon Time and then maybe go, oh, supporting actor or nothing. And for either Jeremy Strong or Anthony Hopkins has the name advantage, but I do think Jeremy Strong gives a stronger and more like flashy performance. So I do think he is very possible, albeit I don't know if he actually happens. And then number 10, I got Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse. He's pretty good. I'm not a big Eddie Redmayne guy, but he's pretty good in this. I do think he's going to get Globe and SAG. I think he's going to be that guy that gets Globe and SAG. I don't think it'll translate to an Oscar nomination, though. I guess it's possible, though. Fun supporting actors were number 1. I'm taking the gamble putting Carrie Condon at number 1. And 2, I've been saying it since the Michelle Williams move that Carrie Condon to me feels the least wrong to win. Like she does give a showy scene-stealing performance. I do think that she's very possible. And no names win in supporting. Like, that's more likely in supporting. Number 2, I got Claire Foy for Women Talking. I do think she's like the most likely Women Talking woman to get in. Like, if only one Women Talking actress got in, I would guess is be Claire Foy. That said, I do think Jessie Buckley is like pretty firmly in there to get nominated. Number 4, I do have Hong Chau for The Whale. I was watching the movie and kind of thinking the entire time, oh, Hong Chau, I think she's actually this morning actress get in. Until the last scene where I'm like, oh, fuck, Sadie Sink. And nonetheless, I do think Hong Chau's having a really good year, and I think that'll add up. Not like this gargantuous year. She's not the lead in any of her movies, but I do think she's having a good enough year where I do think that the Brendan passion will help her get in. And she's also really good stuff. And then number 5, I got Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere All at Once. If Sue gets in, I don't think it'll be an easy road for her. But I do think that Everything Everywhere All at Once will have enough love where I think she could definitely slide her way in there. Also, side note, Jamie Lee Curtis is not happening. You only need to cut that shit out. Dude, I don't think this is a guarantee. In fact, I'm if anything, I'm leaning more towards like she doesn't get in. But like, I don't really buy the alternates. Number 6, I have Sadie Sink, which I do want to predict. Problem is, I don't think this category is just going to be 3 movies: Banshees, 2 Women Talking, and 2 Whale. And I do think Hong Chau's a little bit more likely, so I gotta keep Sadie out. Number 7, Carrie Mulligan, which she said. I feel like that only happens if the movie happens. I think. Actually, I don't know. I'm not hearing that much buzz for her. That's the problem. I hear she's like really good, like obviously, but like not hearing a lot of award hype for her. And I feel like maybe if she wasn't Carrie Mulligan, we wouldn't be like talking about it that much. 8, Tuso Mbidu. I think that only happens if Viola gets in or if the movie gets in. But I do think if Viola gets in, I think she takes Thuso with her. Number 9, Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe is really good in the movie. But I gotta be honest. I think that's only if movie happens. I think either that or she's Maria Bakalova, which I don't really buy that being the case here. And then number 10, I got Dolly DeLeon for Triangle of Sadness. I thought she was fantastic, but I do think it's a problem that she's like only a thing in the movie in the third act of the movie, and that is where it loses people. Yeah, that's something to think about, but I do think she's very good. I don't buy her as a nomination, gotta be completely frank. Original screenplay. Man, this one's interesting. I have Everything Everywhere All Wants at number 1. I really think that's going to win. Even if Fabelman's wins picture, I really think Everything Everywhere All Wants is going to win screenplay. And then number 2, I have the Fabelman's screenplay. And then 3, I got Banshees of Inisherin. I think that top 3 is just like, it's not going nowhere. 4, I have Tar, very screenplay focused. I do think that those 4, I mean, unless Tar really falls out, like where it's really not a thing, I don't see that 4 missing. Then you got 5th slot. Playing it safe, I would say Babylon, number 5. And that is what I'm going to say. But to me, that registers as a movie that's more director than writer. That makes any sense at all. But at the same time, that's like kind of the safest bet right now, which probably means it's not going to happen. But like, I feel like I got to play it safe and say Babylon's 5. And then number 6, I do have Triangle of Sadness. Like I said, the structure is very wonky. Like there's not a cohesive plot line going on here, which could definitely hurt it. But it's, it's very funny. It's very, it has very showy dialogue. I do think it's possible to get in. And also, I think it's possible is my number 7, The Menu. This movie is very good. Like it's fucking amazing. It's a chef's kiss, no pun intended. It's very layered in terms of its like, its structure and its its through line, you know what I mean? Like it's very satirical and funny and thrilling at the same time. I thought The Menu was fucking amazing. I do think The Menu could, if it is a hit, I think it could very easily be this year's like Knives Out, as in lone screenplay. Number 8, I have Decision to Leave. That's a picture only thing. I think if that gets pictures, it's a definite screenplay nominee. Without it, that's tricky. Maybe it's worst person in the world. Like that's definitely a possibility, but like I don't really know if that's what's going to be the case here. But I definitely buy it. It definitely has a showy script. And then after that, I don't really buy it. Number 8, yeah, Cha Cha Real Smooth. 10 Bros. I hate to say it, but that's gone. But that's screenplay. Number 1, I got Women Talking. That feels pretty good. Number 1, I do think it's going to win. It's very like dialogue, like it's women talking. Number 2, I got The Whale, which I also do think it could win screenplay. I'm aware that the screenplay is getting some criticism with critics, but I don't think audience is going to care about the criticisms of the screenplay. I do think The Whale is definitely getting it nominated because it's very dialogue focused. And then number 3, I got Glass Onion. I have no question in my mind that Glass Onion's got to get a screenplay now. That feels obvious. After that, it gets a little shaky. I think She Said at 4 feels correct. It's a journalism movie. It's about the Weinstein shit. Like, I think that feels like a good come on, water bottle all the way. That feels like a good prediction at number 4. And then number 5, I got Pinocchio. That that could obviously not happen. Guillermo del Toro, as awesome as he is not known for his amazing screenplays. Not bad, not amazing. And this is a musical animated Pinocchio movie. I do think that in script like does add up to a certain extent. After that, number 6, I do have The Batman. It's a detective thriller. It's very screenplay-esque. I do think a screenplay nom is very possible, a la Logan. And yeah, honestly, I definitely do think we all should take that a little bit more seriously in this category. 7, All Quiet on the Western Front. It's very much a war movie. I don't know if that gets a screenplay nom. And then White Noise, I have heard it very, very good movie. Yeah, I could definitely see this getting a nomination in this category. I just, want to see it actually happen first. And then Bones and All, we'll see. Black Panther Wakanda Forever needed a 10th slot. All right, let's move on to best score. I want to get this fucking shit over with. I want to go Babylon, just based on the score from the trailer. Looks like it could very well be maybe potential winner, but definitely a nominee. 2, I got Women Talking. I do think the story can get a little repetitive, but it's still very good. And also, by the way, we're on the topic. Hilder is likely getting in for this and not Tar. The score in Tar is very, not there. 3, you got All Quiet on the Western Front. That score is awesome. It's incredible. It needs to happen. I don't care if it misses picture. Just get it in the score. For The Fabelmans, I don't remember the score very well, but enough people do where I'm like, all right, I guess. It is John Williams. He's like the one person where I'm like, all right, John Williams gets in for everything. Number 5, we got Pinocchio. I think this spot's in a little bit of a, not the best position with the Academy after French Dispatch and Midnight Sky. I do think this will be the show that, like, unless Pinocchio is like a nothing, if he misses for Pinocchio, a musical like Guillermo del Toro, if he misses for that, then he's like not in the best shape at all with them. 6, I got the Batman. I think that's still like the most known score of the year. Like, it's still the biggest score of the year. Like, it's so good. But like, man, it might just get pushed out by all these picture nominees and contenders. It's annoying, but that might be the case. 7, Empire of Light. Fantastic score by Reznor and Ross. Again, kind of the same thing. If it goes down, then if the movie goes down, I might take everything with it. 8, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Here the score is pretty damn good, and Ludwig won for the last movie, so hey, it could happen again. 9, Avatar: The Way of the Water. I want to hear the score first. But hey, the last one getting in, James Horner didn't do this one, but for obvious reasons, someone else did. 10, I got Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, Carter Burwell got in for 3 billboards. I don't think that necessarily means this is gonna get in, but it could. So 10. Also, I do want to point out The Whale has a really good score that I could definitely see getting in if that movie's stronger. So we on to sound. So I will say, I think the top 2 is pretty clear. Top Gun, Maverick, and All Quiet on the Western Front. I know we want to say, oh, Top Gun's winning score for sure. But after seeing All Quiet, I straight up said, hey, if that gets into the picture, I think Top Gun's sound team should get very nervous. They do some very interesting shit with the sound in that movie, and it's a war movie, so but I also think both of them aren't going nowhere. Even if All Quiet's not a picture contender, I think this is definitely getting sound. 3, I got Avatar: The Way of the Water. That'll probably get sound. I guess it doesn't need to, per se, but I do think it can. 4, I got Everything Ever All Once. An action movie and picture gets sound. Like, I think I've seen a lot of people jump off. There's some really crazy stuff with the sound design in this movie. I don't know why y'all are jumping ship if you're this confident in the movie. 5, we got The Batman. I probably shouldn't have that in there now that I say it out loud. I mean, I love the sound design in it, but like, it could just easily miss. I don't know. It could. Number 6, I got Pinocchio because it's a musical. So why not? I probably should have it in, honestly. I should just probably swap the 2. Pinocchio and Batman. I probably swap. Number 7, I got Babylon. Babylon is a very, again, I could have some very wild sound design with the parties and shit. So I do think Babylon is very much worth mentioning. And, and also, even First Man, Chazelle's movies get sound nominations, and Here's a Whiplash wins. And then number 8, I got Tar, which does some interesting like atmospheric stuff with its sound. So I would love to see a nom there. I could definitely see it. 9, I got Black Panther, which I haven't seen it yet, but apparently there's some pretty interesting stuff with its sound design. I can't wait to see what that's about. And then 10, I got Nope. Kind of losing faith in it, but I do think it's definitely still possible because they do some very stuff with the UFO and shit. Costumes. Again, Babylon seems pretty obvious that that's gonna happen. A lot of the Babylon stuff, it's like, I haven't seen the movie yet, but like, seems pretty obvious. And then number 2, I got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which from what I'm hearing, could very well win costumes again because the whole Wakanda of it all. In fact, I should probably swap the 2, honestly. Now that I think about it, no, fuck you, swapping them. Number 1, Black Panther. Number 2, Babylon. Yeah, Black Panther 1, Babylon 2. Switching it up mid-video. I can do whatever I want. 3, I got The Woman King. A lot of very flashy tribe costumes, and I do think that even if The Woman King isn't the performer that it is, I do think that Woman King will land a costume nom at least. Number 4, I got The Fabelmans. Nothing very unique or special with the costumes at all, but it could just be one of those really stupid costume nominations that happen because the movie's a big player. Happens all the time. Think of The Irishman, stuff like that. And then 5, I do have Elvis, which you probably have higher. To me, Elvis, like, I understand Catherine Martin, but like we saw with this plot that, you can be as loved as you are. You're missable. Unless you're John Williams. John Williams gets a pass. Dude, I know Elvis has some flashy costumes, but what's stopping it from being like a Bohemian Rhapsody or a Rocket Man, where the costume fucking branch goes like, hey, that's not costume design. That's just what they wore. Number 6, I have Women Talking. Definitely a possibility in this category. There is some flashy costume design. However, it does kind of feel familiar. The costumes, not an insult, just it is the case, so maybe it doesn't get in. 7, I got Everything Everywhere All at Once. Really all for this other Jobu Tupaki wear, which is more than enough because that's some Cruella shit with those outfits. But it is just her. I think that could be an issue, and she's a supporting role. So number 8, I got Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Don't really buy that, honestly. It's about costumes, I guess, but like, it's not like as costumey as you think it is. 9, I got Blonde. Not really. It's just the Marilyn Monroe shit. Same issue with Elvis, just way worse of a chance. And then 10, Amsterdam, just filling slots. That's not fucking happening. Hope not. The movie sucks. Production design. Number 1, Babylon. I just looking at those photos, I'm just like, yeah, that just makes so much sense as the winner. You know what I mean? And again, I'll pump the brakes, but I do think that it could very well win production design. I think it's getting at least nominated. Number 2, got Avatar: The Way of the Water. The first one won. And, I think this one, what's stopping it from getting nominated again? Even if Avatar is not a strong contender, I think it has to get in here. Number 3, got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. First one won. I do think this is going to get in again. I'm not hearing a lot of stuff about the production design, at least not in comparison to the costumes. But, like, I don't know. I feel good about it here. 4, All Quiet on the Western Front. Production design is so good in this movie. It's a war production design. It has not just the trenches, but also like these locations of like the German hierarchy and shit. So I do think All Quiet on the Western Front does stand a good chance. And then number 5, I got Pinocchio. I do still think there's a line for it being a stop motion animated movie that I don't think, that's going to prevent people from voting for it. I think costumes crosses that line, whereas production design, they're still building the sets. So I do still think, because it is stop motion, so I think it can actually survive that. And with that in mind, Del Toro movies do tend to get production design nominations, and this movie does have fantastical elements to it. So I do think that it very well could get a production design nomination, even without a picture nom. Number 6, I got The Woman King. I definitely think that this is a strong possibility. I think costume is a lot more possible, but does have some really good production design in it that shows like the villages and like the tribes and stuff. 7, Empire of Light. It's really just the theater, and I do think that could be enough, but I don't know how enough. You know what I mean? 8, Glass Onion. The house that this movie takes place in is stunning. It is so well made, but it is contemporary, and I doubt Glass Onion's going to be a large contender, so I don't think it's actually going to happen. 9, The Fabelmans. Could this be like a stupid nomination because it's a big contender? I guess, but it's not like costumes where like costumes, it would be a stupid nom too, but like there's something there. Whereas here, it's literally just houses and schools with nothing interesting about them. So I'm going to say no, The Fabelmans does not get a production design nom. And then 10, Elvis. Again, it does have some showiness to it, but it's nothing like too big. Nothing really stuck out as like holy shit with this production design. You know what I mean? At least compared to Bass's other movies. Editing. Number 1, I got Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's so showy. It's so many cuts. I do think it's going to get nominated for editing. I do think it could win. And then number 2, I got Top Gun Maverick. I mean, we know the sound correlation, but I do think it is a little breakable. At least I think for me, I think it's got to get at least nominated for sound. I don't know if it needs to win. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong, but like I don't think that correlation is like for winning sound and winning editing is like just tongue tied. And Top Gun can win editing. I definitely buy it, but I think Everything Everyone Wants is a lot more showier with its editing. 3, Women Talking. That movie actually has a lot more not like cut, but like showier editing than you would guess. So I do think Women Talking is going to get in. 4, we got Babylon. It being 3 hours doesn't help, but from what I can tell, it's very fast paced. So I do think an editing nomination is definitely a very, very strong possibility. And then it gets a little sticky. I do have The Whale at 5. It does some stuff with its editing in the last like 20 minutes or so that I do think will push it over the edge to an editing nomination, albeit it could be that kind of nomination that just kind of happens. Because it's nominated for Best Picture. That's definitely also possible. Number 6, I have The Fabelmans, which I do think there's going to be some collateral damage with the whole fact that it's going to peak early, in my theory. And usually that comes in editing snub. Think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Think Belfast. Big Mank. That usually happens. I think Fabelmans, nothing unique about its editing. So it definitely could be that. After that, number 7, I got All Quiet on the Western Front for if that sound thing is real, like, it needs to win sound to win editing. Maybe All Quiet on the Western Front, gets an editing nomination and maybe a win. But I am going to keep it at editing just for now. But it's very possible. 8, I got The Banshees of Inisherin. I feel like that would be like the Dallas Buyers Club kind of nomination where it just kind of happens because it's a picture nominee. Nothing very unique or interesting about its editing. not an insult, just a fact of the matter. I love Banshees. 9, Avatar. That's an only picture thing. And then 10, I got Tar. I'm not really sold on that getting an editing nomination just because it does have a lot of one takes, a lot of just back and forth dialogue. So I don't really think that Tar is gonna get an editing nom. All right, next up we got cinematography. This category is weird, not because nothing like sticks out as like obvious to me, and the ones that do, I just don't see winning. So number 1, I have Babylon. I guess, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. It doesn't feel like, from what I see in the trailer, it doesn't seem like, oh, it has to win cinematography. But like, I guess it could. Number 2, we got The Fablemans, and that was very well shot. Not like win well shot, but very well shot. I think Fablemans is definitely getting it for cinematography. 3, I got Avatar: The Way of the Water. I did see the footage, the bonus clip at the end of the re-release of the first Avatar, and holy shit, how the fuck did Jamie Cammy do that? Number 4, we got All Quiet on the Western Front, which has incredible cinematography that I do think we'll get in, even if it misses Best Picture. Okay, maybe not it will, but like very, very likely it could. And then number 5, I got The Batman, which does have incredible cinematography that I do think will actually get nominated, because it's still like probably the showiest cinematography I've seen all year, genuinely. And plus, Greg Fraser just won, so hey, maybe. 6, Empire of Light, with Roger Deakins. 7, The Banshees of Inisherin. It's very well shot, but nothing like amazingly impressive, but definitely good enough to get in. 8, I got Bardo. That could definitely still happen, even if Bardo just completely takes a plunge, because I hear the cinematography is unreal in that movie. 9, I got Top Gun Maverick. They do have a lot of interesting shots, but I still don't know if I really buy it. They got like the whole, the camera and the plane shit, but I still got my doubts though. I still have my doubts. And then 10, The Whale. Don't know what else to put in my top 10. I don't really think The Whale's getting cinematography. Speaking of The Whale, let's get the makeup. The Whale is winning. There's a shot in the movie involving a shower, you can piece that together, where I was just like, okay, well, this just one makeup, it's over. We just wrap it up. Brendan Fraser, he's caked in makeup the entire movie, and it's very good makeup. It's gonna win makeup. It's good. After that, I do think the Batman and Elvis are both pretty secure for a nomination. Because look at Colin Farrell in the Batman, and Elvis, look at creepy ass Tom Hanks, and then Austin Butler towards the end. After that, I do have All Quiet on the Western Front, which has some very grisly war wound shit and like a lot of like prosthetics on the main guy's face in a specific scene. It does make sense of this. We had a makeup now, so I am gonna predict it in makeup. And then after number 5, I'm taking it. I'm doing it. I'm going with X. I do think the release of Pearl definitely helps X a little bit, and it's kind of like The Lighthouse when that got cinematography. It's like, how do you deny that makeup nom? That's the vibe I'm getting from it now, and I really am starting to think it could happen with how they cake Mia Goth in old lady prosthetics to the point where I had no clue that was Mia Goth. Number 6, I got Thor: Love and Thunder. Really, it's just for Christian Bale. That could be enough, but I don't know. That movie does have a bit of a negative reputation around it. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, number 7. Maybe. I don't know. Same with The Woman King at number 8. Honestly, everything past 6, I'm not really sure. I'm like, Babylon, does that have a lot of prosthetics in it? Blonde, fuck you. VFX, Avatar's winning. We all know that at this point. We can just, I think even the people who are like, don't call things early, I think even they're like, yeah, except for Avatar. Number 2, I got The Batman. And I do think that is going to get nominated. It gives me No Time to Die vibes. 3, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I really do think that is going to happen, because it does have a story behind it with only I think 9 people in this VFX team, 9 or 7, something like that. A small amount of people doing all that, and there's not a bad VFX in the movie. 4, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I heard the VFX are greatly improved in this one, so I do think this is really solidly in there. And then number 5, I got Pinocchio. It's stop motion animated, similar to Kubo and the Two Strings, and I do think this especially if it's in picture, I do think this could very well get a VFX nom. After that, I got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The VFX aren't great in this movie, but there is a lot of VFX. So I do, I think that, if one of these drops off like Pinocchio, I think Doctor Strange would definitely be the replacement. Number 7, I have Top Gun Maverick. And I still am very skeptical, because they've really made sure that the focus was the fact that there was barely any VFX, that they were actually flying shit. So I don't know. There's not a lot. There's very little VFX in this movie, and that's a good thing, but it doesn't lend to a VFX nom. 8, I have Nope, and I hope that happens, because VFX are great, and I do think it could happen, because Jordan Peele, he's respected enough. Let's go on to song. I do have the Rihanna "Lift Me Up" song from Black Panther. I do think that's gonna win, because it's a tribute to Chadwick and all that. I haven't listened to it yet, but I hear it's it's pretty good. So we got Hold My Hand, the Gaga song from Top Gun. I heard the One Republic one isn't actually eligible. I don't know. It's tricky, but I do think the Gaga song has the lead because it's like pretty prominent throughout the whole movie. That song and like small little things. 3, I got that Nobody Like You song from Turning Red. It's extremely catchy. Billie Eilish did just win. So I do think she's definitely possible to come back and get another nomination. Stand Up from Till. That song is I don't remember that. I don't remember the stand-up song even a little bit, but it does feel like there is always that song about like, racial empowerment that gets in almost every year that I do think that stand-up from Till could be that one. And then we got New Body Roomba from White Noise. I haven't listened to it, but I hear they do some really interesting stuff with it in the movie. So I'm really excited to see what that's all about. Number 6, This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't really see that song getting in, really. Not to from RRR. I know a lot of you guys still have some hope for RRR. I would stop having hope, honestly. It is hopeless for that movie. But I guess this is its best chance. It's a song nom. International feature, obviously I have All Quiet on the Western Front number 1. I do think that has the biggest mass appeal of any of the international feature contenders. So I do really think, even if it misses picture, that this would be our international feature winner, unless it's just going to leave through stronger than we thought, which I definitely think is possible. 3, Holy Spider. I heard that's very good, as is Argentina 1985, which is my 4. Number 5, I have Bardo. And honestly, again, if it wasn't AGI, I would throw it in the dumpster at this point. But like, it is AGI. Maybe he gets an international feature just because he's AGI. Not much to say about everything else. I do want to point out my number 8 is Klondike, which is the Ukraine film. Maybe it does get in because of the fact that it's Ukraine. All right, animated feature, not a lot to say here. Pinocchio's probably gonna win. I mean, it's never wise to question Pixar, so I guess Turning Red could still win, but that's not looking very likely. I think it's got to be Pinocchio. 3, Strange World, probably gonna get nominated unless it's like really bad, which even then. 4, My Father's Dragon. I believe that's a Netflix movie, and I believe the guys who did Wolfwalkers made it, so that's definitely looking good for them. And then number 5, I do have The Bad Guys. They did just do a re-release of the movie, so they definitely want it to happen. It made some coin. It is pretty good. So, it is very much for children, though. That's definitely my problem with it, but it's definitely still possible. Number 6, I got Lightyear. Lightyear, man. It's Pixar. I'm still considering the possibility, but my God, it's looking so unlikely right now because it bombed, and it's not. And critics, well, not bad. It wasn't doing amazing with critics either. I do want to most point. I have Wendell and Wild at 9 because it's bad. And then at 10, I have Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I don't know if that's eligible. Even if it is, I don't buy that at all, honestly. Sorry. Documentary. Now, that's a hard one to predict because, like, documentary branch are a bunch of psychopaths. But I'm not going to try and predict what gets snubbed. Like, I can piece together certain things. Like, usually they snub, like, celebrity movies, which is why I have Lucy and Desi at 10. And, like, Senior, which is the movie about Robert Downey Jr.'s dad, I guess, at, like, number 8. I do have All the Beauty and the Bloodshed at 1. Because, it does feel very much like it's gonna get in. It went to all the festivals. People are saying it's getting into picture, and those people are incorrect. But hey, that should say something about the documentary. I do have Navalny at 2, topical because of the whole Russia thing going on right now. I'm sure you've heard of it. 3, Goodnight Oppie. I heard it's really good. Hopefully I'm seeing it soon potentially, but I heard really good things, so I am going to put it in there, as with Fire of Love, which I did see. That was really good. Hopefully it's not the big documentary stuff. I'm going to predict it isn't because I loved it. And then number 5, I have Sydney, which is, of course, the movie about Sidney Poitier on Apple. Very timely with his passing. And so I do think that there's definitely going to be an incentive to nominate it, and hopefully they do. I do have Moon Age Daydream at 7. I did see it. I loved it. There's not a fucking chance. All right, that's it. I'm going to end it there. Very rushed it towards the end, but I was like, I'm getting tired. So like, subscribe, share, and hopefully I'll get a lot more stuff out to you and this out quickly because this takes us so long to edit. It takes so fucking long.